Shalom friends, welcome to Megillah Reactions, a special 4-part epic Purim event. Part 1. Our story begins with a party. It's the year 400 and something BCE. King Achashverosh of Persia is ruling over like a cajillion provinces from his palace in the capital of Shushan. Now, Achashverosh is exactly the type of man who needs a lot of external validation because he's very insecure, so he throws a party that goes on for like 6 months. Extra doesn't even begin to cover it. He's just showing off, flexing his wealth and fancy home decor for all of his friends and yes-men and sycophants to drool over. Achashverosh had literally no self-control and gets totally shit-faced. He demands his queen, Vashti, show up at his party wearing her crown and maybe nothing else so that all of his bros can objectify her. Vashti was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm not going to do that. You need an intervention and a lot of therapy. Sadly, feminism had not been invented yet. So Achashverosh got real pissed off at his wife because she did not obey, and he thought he was losing face in front of all of his fabulous drinking buddies. He asked his bros what to do with this disobedient wife. His dude bro friends were like, oh, you gotta get rid of her. You gotta get rid of her because you gotta get a new queen. If you don't, all the women around the world will stop listening to their husbands. Achashverosh was like, oh, okay, cool. And he sends out a men's rights flyer across the provinces telling men definitely don't listen to their wives, but definitely do listen to Joe Rogan. I believe that was mandatory. So yeah, the king's posse was like, okay, here's what you do next. You find all of the hot virgins, you take them to Shushan, and then you pick the new queen based on who you want to bang the most. In Shushan, there was a Jewish man named Mordechai. There was a young woman he lived with, probably his niece, or his wife, if you ask people in the Talmud. Her name was Hadassah, and she was indeed dope as fuck. And sure enough, she gets taken to the palace, right? Just like all the other women. And there she met up with her stylist, the eunuch Higai. He thought she had just what it takes to become America's Next Top Model. Now, Mordechai had told her not to tell anybody that she was Jewish, so she was undercover under the codename Esther. Every day, Mordechai would walk around outside the palace and try to find out how she was doing. Now, after a full 12 months of Glam Squad, each woman in turn was brought to the king at night. This isn't a good part. After that, they got put away in a different harem and they couldn't come out of there unless he summoned them by name. Now, Esther was a fan favorite in the palace. Everybody loved her. And she gets taken to the king, and he feels some type of way about her and decides that that is the new queen for him. Let's not get it twisted. She was forced into this marriage. She didn't want to be there. She wasn't into him. This was assault. But he was, as we've established, completely unable to have empathy for anybody else. He gave out gifts left, right, and center because he was so thrilled to have his new queen. But still, she didn't tell anybody that she was Jewish because Mordechai had told her to remain silenced. Stay tuned for part 2.